The broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Hello, my name is Tiffany Campbell. I'm a sales director with Altec. Today we're going to talk about going paperless with DocLink for Sage. If you have any questions throughout the presentation today, please type them in the chat box throughout the webinar, and we'll try to answer, or we will answer all the questions at the end of the call today. So today we're going to start by talking about document management and why it's important. We live in a world of instant access. I personally travel a lot, and so next week I'm in Montreal. I know, I'm going to a certain client site. So in a matter of moments, I can find, where that client site is at using my phone. I can find the closest gym, closest restaurants, closest hotel, all in a matter of minutes. I can get all of that from my phone. Unfortunately, when we walk into the office, it's not that way. It's hard to find all of the documents we need. You can't just walk in and say, Google, send me ABC's invoice and all the checks, the packing slips, all the documentation that go with it. Unfortunately, when we walk into our office, it looks more like this. And we have three different buckets here. We have, either you're using filing cabinets, network file sharing, or you have some kind of software system. But all of the information isn't being stored in one central spot. And I would say, 90% of the people we talk to, the prospects we talk to, are still using filing cabinets. It doesn't really matter how technically savvy the world has become, people still print out documents and file them away. So we're here to help with that. We have other customers who, as I mentioned, are using network file sharing, where they're storing the documents. They're pretty much mirroring the filing cabinet system, but on their desktop. That's really the only big difference. One thing is you have to figure out, okay, how did Julie save that, in which folder, and is it the most current version? So we want to help eliminate that. We know some other customers are using software, and there are some software systems out there, and a lot of them are imaging systems. So we're going to talk about what real document management is and what we have to offer today. So when we talk to our prospects, to people like you, we ask them, what business problems do you face today? And obviously one would be silos of business data, the information stored here, here, and here. And obviously that makes for inefficient workflow. There's also lack of visibility, security, and compliance by doing this, operational inefficiencies, and it really gives you the inability to maximize your profits. So what we want to do today is talk about DocLink. And if you're sitting there thinking, okay, is this a solution or fit for me? We have three questions you can ask yourself. One is, does your current system require a lot of touching, moving, and filing of documents? Are your approval processes manual and inefficient? And do you spend a lot of time doing data entry? If you've said yes to any of these questions, document management is probably a good fit for you. And that's where DocLink comes in. We are a document management solution. We are an enterprise-wide document management solution, so not only do we fit your ERP world, but we can take any area in your organization paperless. So our four main modules that we like to discuss are the ones you see on the screen right now. And we're going to start with the capture component. We want to give you the most efficient way to capture your documents. So what we're first going to do is sit down with you and determine, okay, what documents do you want captured, and where are these documents coming from? Are they coming from email, mail, fax, over the phone? We'll figure out how all the documents are coming in, and then we're going to give you several different flavors or several different options on how to bring them into our system. I think people think traditionally of document management, and they think of printing and scanning. We do have scanning capabilities, but we have much more as well. We have an import manager. We have something called which is Enterprise Report Management. We offer OCR. We do barcoding. So again, it just really comes down to figuring out where your documents are coming from and which is the best way to bring them in. Then once we have captured those documents, we want to give you a quick, easy way to be able to search and retrieve these documents. If you are an ERP user, you're inside of Sage 300, you want to quickly access a document, there's a View Documents button that you can click. If you are on the road and you need to be able to look up a document or a contract, like I was mentioning, I travel a lot and I want to pull up a contract before I go to a client site. I can easily do that with my mobile app. If you're a remote location or if you're a vendor and you want to be able to access invoices that have been paid, you can go out to a web portal. So again, we give you several different flavors, several different options, but they all kind of look and feel the same way. And we'll kind of touch on that today. So we're first capturing your documents, then we're giving you the ability to search and retrieve these documents. The next thing we want to offer is a simple way to move these documents throughout your organization. We know when a piece of paper hits your desk, it usually doesn't sit there. It has to travel within your company. An example would be an invoice. If an invoice comes in, there's probably some kind of business role. You look at the invoice and you determine where it needs to go, who needs to approve it, who then processes it. Well, we want to automate that whole process. We want to say when a document comes in, we look at that document, we determine what workflow it goes on, and we automate it so no one's manually moving paper throughout your organization. Then the next thing we want to do is give you the ability to automate the delivery. So yes, it's nice that we have all these documents stored and we give you access to them, but if you wanted to quickly say, okay, I want to pull that invoice and all the supplemental documents and send them out, we want to give you access to do that. So with our automated delivery, you can send out email documents out, and you can attach documents as supplemental documents to go out with it. So this really right here is our core system: capture, search and retrieve, workflow, and automated delivery. And all of this works beautifully inside of Sage. But as I mentioned when we first started the call, this is an enterprise-wide solution. So any paper process that you have internally, we can automate. So if you're thinking, okay, well, you know, our whole HR onboarding process is very paper consuming. We'd like to automate that and take that paperless, but it doesn't fit into our ERP. Well, we have something called smart forms that allow you to take any process paperless. So I gave HR as an example. Well, HR is not using your ERP. It sits outside of it. Well, with our smart forms, you have the ability to take that onboarding process, and we've all been hired at a company, and you know what it's like when you get hired. You get a stack of documents that you have to fill out, and it's traditionally the same information on all the documents. Maybe some have something different, but it's usually name, social security, previous employer, that kind of stuff. Instead of filling it out, 15 different times, you fill all that information out into one smart form. Then the smart form takes that information and in conjunction with the workflow, puts that document or creates documents behind the scenes and takes that document and puts it onto a workflow. Maybe after I fill out my work smart form, it sends a document to IT saying, Tiffany's a new employee, set her up in Sage, set her up in CRMs, do these actions. Maybe another workflow goes to payroll saying the same thing. Hey, Tiffany's a new employee, do these actions for her, direct deposit, whatever it may be. So with smart forms, you can automate any paper process, and then in conjunction with workflow, you can take that paper process and automate it within our solution. So there's a lot of power, and I don't want to overwhelm everybody here. You can always start off with one department like AP or AR or sales order, and then eventually expand where you can start utilizing and really taking your entire company paperless. Now, when you think about going paperless, I think a lot of people think of, okay, what's my ROI? What's my return on investment. And most people think of, okay, I'm going to save this dollar amount in paper. Well, if you go out to our website, we have some customer testimonials. We do have over 3,000 clients, so at any point you want a reference, let BAASS know and we can get you in contact with a customer reference. But you can always go out to our website and see these different testimonials. We have a Midwest manufacturer that came to us and said, you know, in our first year alone, we saved $85,000 in storage and retrieval charges. And we weren't even anticipating that. We have another company that came and said there was $11,000 that they saved in the first year in postage alone. So you're talking about $85,000 in storage fee, $11,000 in postage fee. We're not even talking about how much money we're saving on paper and printers and all of this other stuff. You're already at $100,000 in ROI. That's not even talking about increased efficiencies. You know, if you have 3 or 4 processors in AP right now, you can, you know, bring it down to 1. So we're giving you the ability to expand without adding headcount, or taking your existing headcount and reallocating them to do something more revenue generating than data entry. So at any point, if you want to go through the ROI process, let us know. We do have an ROI calculator. I would love to sit down with you and go through, you know, how much value we can add within your organization. So that takes us back to the business problems we all face. The first one we mentioned was having silos of business data. You know, my information is stored here, here, and here. I need it all consolidated. Well, really, what our solution offers is a central repository. And basically, it's a SQL database that resides on your server that can talk to really any application. We have integrations with all of the Sage ERPs. So if you're using 100, 300, 500, or even if you've moved to X3, we can talk to that. We can take the data, push it in and out of those applications very easily. And we're not, as I mentioned, we're not only limited to the ERPs. It's nice that we have the relationship with Sage. So I failed to mention this at the beginning, but I keep talking about this product being called DocLink. But we are partnered with Sage. It is on their price book. You would actually purchase this product through BAASS and through Sage. Sage calls it Sage ERP Document Management. So the product, you know, I'm mentioning it as DocLink. They're mentioning it as Sage ERP Document Management. It really is one and the same. What's nice is we do have that seamless integration with all of their ERPs, but that doesn't limit it to just that. It can integrate with any application out there. The cool part is, if you are a Sage user, though, and you want to quickly be able to access a document, there is a View Documents button. So at any point you decide, yes, this is something we want, we would open up this feature for you so you can click on it and be able to search and retrieve documents very easily. If you're not a Sage user, you can have it on your desktop where you're able to access it. If you're a vendor, as I mentioned, or a remote location and you want to be able to access the documents via a web portal, we can set that up. You can do it through a tablet, through a phone. We give you several different ways to be able to easily access all of the documents we're referencing today. The next thing we were talking about was inefficient workflow. Okay, so right now I'm looking at a piece of paper on my desk and I know it needs to go somewhere, and I wish I would have had that automated. We know that usually paper has to travel through your organization. So what we want to do is streamline this for you. We want to take all of your documents and put them on a workflow. So we have a workflow configurator that allows you to define what your process is. It's just like flow charting something. You just flow chart it. We take that and we put that within the system. These are very flexible, very scalable. You know, an invoice comes in, it goes through, you know, several of people for approval, then it goes to be processed. Or we send it out to look for a PO that it needs to match with. Then it doesn't have to be approved and it's automatically processed. You define what your workflow is. Is it AP? Is it AR? Is it legal? It doesn't matter. You could have unlimited workflows within the system. You define those, then we set it up. As you saw in the workflow configurator, there's approval processes. We know that people aren't sitting at their desks all day. We hear this complaint, when we talk about being able to automate things. AP processors come back to us and say that's great, but once we send it to the CFO, it usually sits on their desk for a couple of days. Well, we want to solve that. So we want to be able to send the approval process via your mobile device. So as long as you can get email on your mobile device, if you're part of an approval process or a next step, you'll be able to access that through your mobile device. So right here you can see I'm an approver. I can open up a document, decide if I want to approve it or deny it right here from my mobile device. We also know that things happen. People move within your organization, or certain people go on vacation. Let's say BB goes on vacation and we want to assign her documents to Joe to approve during her absence. We can easily do that. Maybe Joe's, when he's on vacation, he still wants to approve them. So he can do it from a beach anywhere. As long as he can get reception from his phone, he can open up and approve or deny it. So there is delegation within our workflow. You can set that up. You can also say that, if so-and-so doesn't approve it in this time frame, it automatically sent to someone else. There's a lot of power within that. You guys just define what the delegation is, and we'll set that up for you and also train you on how to do it yourself. So that's a workflow. The next was lack of visibility, security, and compliance. So is your business secure? What we want to do is, I mentioned there's several different ways to be able to access this information. Well, we don't want everybody to be able to access it. I talked about, setting up a web portal for vendors to be able to look at their, paid invoices, but you don't want them to see other vendors' information. So we need to set it up so they have the security to only see their own. So we have security by company, by department, by document type, and even property values. Let's say HR decides to roll this out. As an HR employee, I can see all employees' information, but when I open it up, maybe their salary is blacked out, and maybe their Social Security is blacked out. So you define the security. It's as granular as you need it or want it to be. Then that takes us to auditing. So let me tell you a story. We have a client who went through a sales tax audit and were penalized $100,000 because they could not make the proper documents visible and available for their auditors. Then this is on top of the cost of having the auditors at their office anyways. So you're talking about $100 plus on audit fines. So what we want to do is give you a quick, easy way to be able to give your auditors the access to the documents. So you can, say, hey, you can have security to this much, or you can save everything with the search engine, similar to a light version of DocLink for self-service. So it's very simple. We can set that up. You define how you want to give access to the auditors, and we'll give you that capability. And so, they can quickly access all of the documents within the system so you're completely compliant. The next problem or business problem that our prospects face are operational inefficiencies. So we want to automate capturing, which we talked about. We want to figure out what's the most efficient way to bring documents in. When we bring those documents in, we want to not only store the image, but we want to store all of the data on it so we can index it, so you can give everybody the ability to quickly search for documents. We also want to reduce the manual processing and human error. So the cool part is when we bring the documents in, we're storing the data on the documents. All that data is being stored in our repository, which we can easily push into your ERP, which then gives the ability to pre-populate the data entry screens. So as an AP processor, I don't have to do double data entry. I can easily pull up the screen, voila, the information's there for me, and I can go ahead and process it. So we want to leverage the existing ERP data as well as push in the new data from the documents that are being received. We also want to support your mobile workforce. We want to make it very easy for them to be able to capture data anywhere. Again, I travel a lot. I rely on my mobile app for so much, whether it be expense reporting, where I take a picture of my receipts, or I'm at a customer site and they sign a contract and I want to be able to easily upload that into the system. So with our mobile app, you have those capabilities, which makes everything much more efficient. So when I just mentioned being able to capture data anywhere, whether it be, from my phone or a tablet, we want to give your clients or your employees that capability. The next thing is we want to help maximize your profits. So in doing so, we want to help you obviously cut paper and office supply costs. And people, I think, typically think of that right away when they think about document management. So obviously that's one we're definitely going to hit on. We want to eliminate the whole offsite storage. We talked about the client had saving $85,000 that first year. We want to help you get to that point. We want to also help reallocate time for strategic initiatives. We talked about 3 or 4 processors. Instead of having 3 or 4, have one. Give them the ability to do something that's more revenue generating. And then again, that takes us to grow without adding headcount. By automating everything, you have the ability to expand your workflows, extend your workflows without adding headcount to it. So all of these are problems that a solution that document management can help you with, and a solution like DocLink can definitely assist you with. So now it's really about, will you take the initiative? Is this something that seems appealing to you? We have partnered with BAASS for a while now. We offer the integrations with Sage. At any point, if you have questions, if you want to know, okay, what's my ROI? Let us know. We'll go through the ROI calculator with you. We'll talk about how we can add value to your organization. If you want to see a demo of the solution more personalized for your organization, definitely reach out. So we work very closely with BAASS. Feel free to contact them. They'll let us know. They'll get us involved. We're here. As soon as you raise your hand and say, this is something we're interested in, we do a discovery call. Our first step is just sitting with you, talking about what your paper pains are, figuring out which modules that we have that would benefit you. Then from there, we can do, move on to a solutions demo and, a statement of work. But initially, we just want to have that discovery call with you. So if you're interested, feel free to reach out to BAASS. We'll also provide preliminary pricing. So if you have any questions, let them know. But if you have questions for me right now, I'm going to go ahead and open up or expand my chat room here, so we can see if there are any questions. And I don't know if you want me to take those or if someone from BAASS is going to take the questions. Okay, so I'm looking through and I don't see any questions at the time. So if you have any questions, or if you'd like to receive preliminary pricing, or if you'd like to go through a discovery call with one of us, feel free to contact BAASS. They'll get in touch with us, and we can help your organization go paperless. I just want to thank everyone for their time today, and I hope we can help you out in any way. Thanks again.